You're awesome. Oh, it's so good to see you guys this morning. New phone. Yes. Now, on the bright side, my screen time was down 43% last week. So, not disciplined, just don't have a phone. And so there's a thought that goes, man, should I give up my phone? And I thought about it for about 2 seconds. I was like, nah, can't do it. So, oh well. It's so good to be with you guys this morning and have a chance to be together. One of the things I've been reflecting on is, I mentioned yesterday, I've been started reading the New Testament with my kiddos, and it's interesting. It's brought up just an underlying issue, I think, that is maybe unique to our family, but maybe it's not. And so in that, just our kids kind of feel like they should know more than they really do. I mean, they're pastors' kids, right? They're in church all the time. They're involved in youth group. They know and hear or overhear conversations about things we're thinking or things we're processing or what we may do or what's coming up. And we started reading together just straight out of the scriptures. And in that, it's actually, I'm watching their faces be kind of overcome with shame, with like, oh, we don't know. And yesterday it broke out in this thing where we were talking about government and talking about taxes, and this isn't political, just hear this out. And Noah said, well, the government should pay for that. And I said, well, where's that money come from, buddy? And he said, the president. And I said, well, where's the president get his money? He says, the government. I said, where's the government get his money? He thought, and he paused for a second. He goes, Jesus? Which, we always talk about Jesus is the right answer, right? So yes, technically, yes. God is who provides. Jesus is his greatest provision. But that's not what it was. Taxes is where they come from. But I got to thinking about just like, do we just say the answers because we think they're the answers? Or we know them? And maybe one of the vicious lies is, I think about when the disciples looked at Jesus and said, teach us to pray. Well, shouldn't the disciples know how to pray? I mean, they're watching Jesus. They're familiar with Jewish tradition. They've been around synagogues before. Like, how do they not know? And I just think that a lot of it speaks to a lot of the things that we assume we're supposed to know. Actually, collectively, a lot of us don't know. That it's not just the big theological words, it's the practical ones. And today I was reminded of that because I got prompted by my Bible app of would I want to participate in just a guided prayer and a refreshment as a pastor after Easter. And I was like, oh, I should know better. And that pride almost made me not click it. And then I clicked guided prayer. And it led me through just 4 simple prompts of reminding me God's not ever changing. So how is he the same today as he was on Easter Sunday? How much does God love me? Processing that. What does God want with my weaknesses? And it's in my weaknesses that I'm strong as I confess them and follow him. And so it became this like, oh man, I needed this. I needed a little help, a little aid. And maybe that's through a community group. Maybe that's through a book that you need to read. Maybe that's through a guided prayer or whatever. And so what I wanted to say is I don't have all the answers, but I know a lot of people who do. A lot of people who are much wiser and much smarter than I am. And so if you're struggling, if you're trying to figure out, man, I want to learn, teach me. Maybe I can help provide you with some resources, because I cannot tell you how thankful I am for the men and women, for the dead theologians, the books I've read, for a simple app like YouVersion just prompted me to pray, that's guided me, that it turns out that this life with God is meant to be lived with others. And not just us serving others, but us receiving service from others as well. We call that discipleship. We call that community. We call that growing together, a people in process together. God, I thank you, and I confess as humbly as I know how, though I'm so prideful, that I need to learn more. And that's hard for me to admit because I feel like I should know more. I should know these words and these ideas and these concepts. I should be able to make all these decisions. I should be able to change my behavior. Yet, where does that should come from? Instead, God, I pray you help me to first sit with you, to be with you, to hear you, and then to invite others into my life that can help me along the journey. Not just hold me accountable or remind me of how bad I've been, but can exhort me in the good news of the gospel. That we can remind one another through songs and hymns, through exhortation. God, I know that I never am suffering from over-encouragement, and no one is. And so, God, may we be the most welcoming, encouraging, loving people on the planet. All for your name and your glory. It's in your Son's name I pray. Amen. Love you guys. Praying for you. Pray for me. Shoot me an email or a message if I can help you in any way, shape, or form. Love you guys.